What's going on, world? It's DS1 Ross, and I'm back. Shout out to everybody. Welcome back to my Black History Month 2017 series. And I'm back. Freedom fighter, y'all. A freedom fighter that should be honored. You know, I feel like his contribution to Black leadership has been kind of undermined over the years, and he's been kind of skipped over. So I came to bring him to y'all, family. And tonight, our first freedom fighter we're going to talk about tonight, on the list of my top 10. Tonight, we're going to talk about Muhammad Ali, everyone. Muhammad Ali, the great Muhammad Ali. I'm going to make sure I state that. The great Muhammad Ali. You know, like I said, I feel like in the last 10 years, this brother has been overlooked, due to his conditions and just the fact of, you're not hearing of him a lot. But this is a great brother. He was a great family man. He was a great man to his people. And he was a great man to everyone. Everyone loved this brother, you know. And I'm glad that this brother didn't take the fact that everyone loved him and he didn't become an integrationalist. I love that about Muhammad Ali. And I honor him for that. That shows how much he was for his people on that. So I'm gonna get into my dissertation, family. I'm gonna give y'all a little background information on Muhammad Ali, you know, and we gonna keep going from there, family. Muhammad Ali, by the way, family, I'm reading for the Encyclopedia Britannica. So I'm reading for Britannica.com, just to state my sources. So y'all could go check it out. So I'm reading from there, y'all. And it says Muhammad Ali, original name Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., born January 17th, 1942, in Louisville, Kentucky. He grew up in the American South in a time of segregated public facilities. His father, Cassius Marcellus Clay Sr., supported a wife and two sons by painting billboards and signs. His mother, Odessa Grady Clay, worked as a household domestic. So she basically was like a nanny. When Clay was 12 years old, he took up boxing under the tutelage of policeman Joe Martin. After advancing through the amateur ranks, he won a gold medal in the 175-pound division at the 1960 Olympic Games in Rome and began a professional career under the guidance of Louisville Sponsoring Group, a syndicate composed of 11 wealthy white men. That's interesting, and that's something I never really knew, family. It's interesting that he started out his career and he was sponsored by, that's very, very interesting that, his career began this way. It's interesting. So I'm gonna keep reading, y'all. In his early bouts as a professional, Clay was more highly regarded for his charm and personality than for his ring skills. He sought to raise public interest in his fights by reading childlike poetry and spouting self-descriptive phrases such as float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He told the world that he was the greatest, but the hard realities of boxing seemed to indicate otherwise. Clay infuriated devotees of the sport as much as he impressed them. He held his hands unconventionally low, backed away from punches rather than bobbing and weaving out of danger, and appeared to lack true knockout power. The opponents he was besting were a mixture of veterans past who were long past their prime and fighters who had never been more than mediocre. Thus, purists cringed when Clay predicted the round in which he intended to knock out an opponent, and they grimaced when he did so and bragged about his new conquest. So basically, a lot of times, he was despised from his arrogance, because he was very, very arrogant as I think he was just very, very skills, because he basically professed he was the best and then manifested. It's nothing wrong with that. It's a fighter that do that today. Floyd Mayweather. He said he's the best. And in his time, he is. So, you speak it, you put the work in, you become it, you know. That shows the proof that the law of attraction is real, you know. You speak things into existence. That's the truth. The brother said he was great. He proved he was great in his time, you know. I'm gonna continue reading, family. For the next 3 years, no, pardon me. On February 25th, 1964, Clay challenged Sonny Liston for the heavyweight championship of the world. Liston was widely regarded as the most intimidated, powerful fighter of his era. Clay was a decided underdog, but in one of the most stunning upsets in sports history, Liston retired to his corner after 6 rounds, and Clay became the new champion. 2 days later, Clay shocked the boxing establishment again and announced that he had accepted the teachings of the Nation of Islam. On March 6, 1964, he took the name Muhammad Ali, which was given to him by spiritual mentor Elijah Muhammad. I'm gonna stop right there, y'all. So, right then and there, right after he became the champion of the world, this is key here. Muhammad Ali just became the greatest boxer right here. He just won a heavyweight championship. 2 days later, he joins the Nation of Islam, back in the face to white supremacy. That's a smack in the face. The rebelliousness of this brother. Now I can understand why, you know, talk shit about Muhammad Ali, because he did a lot of pompous things, man. He was very, very bold. And I love that about him. You know, he was very, very bold, man, because who would want to join a nationalist group at the height of their professional career? Who would want to do that? I mean, what purpose will that serve for you? But obviously, this brother felt he had a bigger purpose. And he was doing what he was doing in the world for another reason. Because for him to make this move, it showed that he didn't care, what was at stake. He didn't care that his professional career would be at risk for this. He didn't care. And you got to think about the time this was in. This was in 1964. Think about what was going on in that time. So y'all got to understand that, Muhammad Ali was very, very bold, but he was very, very intelligent too. The white establishment, they understood that about Muhammad Ali. They knew that he wasn't going to back down. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to understand what made this brother a freedom fighter is that he decided to put everything on the line at the height of his career. A lot of people who would never do that, especially melanated people, melanated celebrities. They're not going to put everything that they worked for on the line just to, be in favor for their people or to show the world for their people. See, it's a difference to be in favor for your people and to be in favor for your people and say it on the highest platform that you can reach. And that's what he decided to do after he won the title. That's big, man. That's big. How the hell this is not honored? You know what I'm saying? That's how you know the brother was a freedom fighter. Listen, I could do this. This is easy to me. I got something else to do in life. And as you can see, that's what that was, because he put everything on the line. So I'm going to scroll through some stuff and I'm going to continue to read. It says, then on April 28th, 1967, citing his religious beliefs, Ali refused induction into the U.S. Army at the height of the war in Vietnam. Followed a blunt statement voiced by Ali 14 months earlier. I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong. Many Americans vehemently condemned Ali's stand at a time when most people in the United States still supported the war in Southeast Asia. Moreover, although exemptions from military service on religious grounds were available to qualifying conscientious who were opposed to the war in any form, Ali was not eligible for such an exemption, but he acknowledged that he would be willing to participate in an Islamic holy war. That's deep, y'all. Y'all see this shit? Now, not only joined the Nation of Islam, 3 years after that, he said, I'm not going to war. So once again, you see the rebellious nature of this man against white supremacy. See, it's hard to be part of the system and to rebel against the system at the same time. But this brother is an example of that. He's an example of that. He was the heavyweight champion of the world. And then blatantly spoke out against the US government. Blatantly. And blatantly spoke out against white supremacy and the Catholic Church by saying he'll participate in an Islamic holy war. Now, imagine if the brother would have said that nowadays. They would have cited him as a terrorist. See, we got to think about that too, y'all. They would have cited this brother as a terrorist nowadays. If he would have said he'll take part in an Islamic holy war, that's what you call jihad. Would have cited him as a terrorist. He had no problem with stating this, family. No problem. We'll read a little more. So now it says, Ali was stripped and precluded from fighting by every state athletic commission in the United States for 3.5 years. In addition, he was criminally indicted on June 20th, 1967, convicted of refusing induction into the U.S. armed forces and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Although he remained free on bail, 4 years passed before his conviction was unanimously overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court on a narrow procedural ground. You see? You see? Now, this should be the example of any black athlete who decide to take a political stance. Anybody. Shout out to everybody in the chat. 118. My guy Zeus Flippy. Peace, bro. Boss. Shout out to y'all, man. But this should be the example to any black athlete who decides to take a political stand. You cannot be in the system and rebel against the system. It doesn't work that way. Straight up. They stripped him. They took everything from him. They told him he couldn't fight for 3.5 years. So, they tried to destroy him with his money, because if you're not fighting, you're not getting paid, So they tried to make him go bankrupt and sent him to jail. You see, when you don't follow the rules, what happens, y'all? And this is why you have black entertainers that don't stand up and have a political stance nowadays. This is why you got people like LeBron, his shirt mean, and say what he was supposed to say. He became politically correct. Want to lose his sponsors. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to lose his money. He didn't want to be penalized and chastised by the establishment. Because, see, you got to understand, words are very powerful in the system. Because words cast spells. You got to understand that. That's why they call spelling words. Words cast spells. So whatever you say is very powerful, y'all. Very, very powerful. And especially when you're a melanated person and you on a specific platform. This is why LeBron, he cowered out when it was time for him to stand tall. When they asked him, what's your shirt mean? He was supposed to stand up and say what it really was about, because he has the platform for him to reach the people who need to hear that. But what did he do? He knew better. So he didn't say nothing. You see? Because they understood what happened to Ali. Look at what's happening with Floyd. Radical stuff that he liked to say and try to rebel against the system and, be flashy and arrogant. Look how they punish him. He's doing. He's kowtowing. Now blue lives matter. Now all lives matter. Now cop lives matter to this nigga. But he was just talking that fly black man shit. That black power shit. He was just talking all that shit. They start suing his ass. Now everybody matter. You see, we got to understand how this shit works. We got to understand that, family. And if you really with the movement, you got to understand that you got to be willing to take, being brought back down. This is why what you do for your family and your community should be more important what you do in society, in this white infrastructure, and do for them. So basically what I'm saying is your career should not be more important than the resources you use from your career to take care of your family. So work the job. Don't let the job work you, is what I'm saying. Don't let these titles get to our heads, family, because they know how to bring your ass back down. when you get out of control. You see? See, Muhammad Ali, he really didn't care. He didn't care what they took from him, because at the end of the day, he was becoming who he was becoming for a whole nother reason. But see, these new school dudes like Floyd Mayweather, he not doing what he doing to take care of the black community. He doing what he doing so he could buy more fucking cars. And we can see that because that's why he's kowtowing and kissing ass now. That's why Blue Lives Matter now. You see? Buying chains, watches, and cars, and buying more houses and shitting on black people. That's what he want to do. He don't want to change things in society with his influence, with his voice, with his resources. He don't want to do that. You see? And he's not prepared to take certain financial hits. This is why he's quiet now, because he want them to stop suing his bitch ass. You see? So we got to understand how special Muhammad Ali was to us, family, because he was willing at any and all times to risk it all, any and all times. You see, and look what they did to the brother. They kept him out of boxing and put him in jail, so his he wasn't the same guy anymore. He wasn't the same boxer. You know, that fire, the fire in him started to go out. So I'm gonna read a little bit more before I close it out, family. It says in 1970, Ali was allowed to return to boxing, but his skills had eroded. The legs that had allowed him to dance for 15 rounds without stopping no longer carried him as surely around the ring. His reflexes, while still superb, were no longer as fast as they had once been. Ali prevailed in the first two comeback fights against Gerald Quarry and Oscar Bonavena. Then on March 8th, 1971, he challenged Joe Frazier, become heavyweight champion during Ali's absence from the ring. It was a fight of historical proportions, billed as the fight of the century. Frazier won a unanimous 15-round decision. Following his loss to Frazier, Ali won 10 fights in a row, 8 of them against world-class opponents. Then on March 31st, 1973, a well-known fighter named Ken Norton broke Ali's jaw in the second round en route to a 12-round upset decision. So basically, what we seeing, y'all, is that from his prison bid and from them stripping him of everything, he's basically riding out as an athlete. You know, his skills are deteriorating. His mind is deteriorating. His body's deteriorating, because that's what jail do to you. So as you can see, Ali was also a political prisoner. You see? So even our athletes can become political prisoners, y'all. And this is why our athletes is weak. Don't stand. Because they're afraid to stand for what they believe in, because they understand the punishment and the severity of the punishment that comes along with it. But they don't want their families to go back and being destitute. You know what I'm saying? They don't want that. So they're afraid to stand up. They listen, this shit is wrong, and I'm with these people, and this shit need to stop. You know, these police shootings need to stop. That's what that's all LeBron had to say. You know, there's a lot of young black men out here being murdered in the street. by police unarmed, and this need to stop. And I'm in support of that. What was wrong with him saying that? You see? But he understands that once he say that, they're gonna connect it, they're gonna connect him to Black Lives Matter and connect him to being, you know, a race hater basically. And he don't want to fuck up his money because he understand race and all of that and classes that deals with money and economics. And he don't want to fuck that up. So he like, man, I'm not even talking about that. You know what I'm saying? And they understand that. And they know that as long as they keep our entertainers quiet like that and not willing to use that platform to speak up, they know that they can subdue our whole culture because they understand how our culture works and they understand who our culture is motivated by. We're motivated by our celebrities. That's who dictates our fashion. That's who dictates our music, everything. They understand that. So as long as they keep our entertainers and athletes on a string, they know that they will keep the Black community in disarray. See, a lot of our entertainers that has a voice and that has the intelligence to speak, they should speak and they should become activists. And that's what Muhammad Ali did. He used his intelligence and his platform to speak out for his people because he knew that that's how he can make a change. And he did. Because a lot of Caucasian people love Muhammad Ali. He's loved by the world because of his message, because of what he brought to the world, through what he said and through what he did. He was an honorable man. So he also exhibited Black excellence. And this is why he also, is eligible for being in the top 10 of my freedom fighters. And this is why he should be honored for Black History Month. Because he did all these things, y'all. He did all these things. And if we don't let our children know about men like this, that was into sports and things like that, especially our young men, they should understand and know about brothers like Muhammad Ali. Because Muhammad Ali exhibited manhood, pure manhood. And he was a cool brother. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't just intelligent and militant and, he was cool with it too. So that could show our young Black men who are athletes and aspiring to be athletes to look at brothers like this and to read about them and to understand. So maybe you could take some things from this brother and incorporate it with yours and make it into, what you want to make it into. Because it's damn sure worth it, y'all. You know? Even though he took a nationalistic standpoint, he understood that Black men must be militant. We must be militant. And we must show our militant dominance in our homes and on the platforms that we decide to take in the world. And that's why he had no problem with going against the system. So shout out to everybody in the chat once again, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna close this out. You know, I'll be back probably like in another 2 hours or something. Y'all could come check me out. I'm gonna jump back on again. I'm gonna give y'all another freedom fighter, y'all. This is DS1 Ross. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Muhammad Ali. Shout out to the Nation of Islam, and shout out, to all the black athletes that's willing to take a stand and that's not afraid to lose their nigger trinkets to uplift their communities and to uplift their people. Shout out to everybody who tuned in. I'll be back, family. It's DS1 Ross. You have now tuned in to Sheep Stay Sleep live stream. Peace.